Hello.
Hello. Getting into the singing. I love it.
Yeah, exactly. I was harmonizing with our guest. Welcome to
Mhm.
Questions and Actor Laurent Pitre. I'm your host, Laurent Pitre. And today I'm here with the melodious, the marvelous, the harmonious, the hypnotic, the funky tronic, the pop star herself. Uh, who are you again?
My name is Vitalia, Vitalia. Singer, songwriter, actress, DJ, bass player, all the slashes you want to impose on me.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
That's so much. And I love how you just said your first name. So what's your last name too?
So it's
Or do you
Vitalia
only go
Khmil.
by Camille? Okay. So
Khmil.
but do you now go by the one name kind of like Celine or like that kind of Beyonce? Is that kind of like a
Yeah,
thing that
kind
you're
of.
you're starting to step into?
I think so. It's like the Vitalia Khmil, the person, is her own
Uh-huh.
individual self.
Oh
And
yeah.
Vitalia on its own is kind of the alter ego, just like kind of the singer persona.
Oh,
So as an
cool.
actress, I go by Vitalia Khmil. As a singer and performer, in that industry, I think that right now I've been leaning into just Vitalia, just because it's simpler, and I feel like
Oh,
just being like
cool.
going on stage and being like Vitalia versus Vitalia and somebody like butchering my
Yeah.
name and not being sure how to pronounce it and stuff like that. So yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. Oh, I didn't know that you
Hmm.
did that. That's super cool. So
Yeah.
I'm so curious then. Let's go back all the way to the beginning, before the ego, before the characters, before the singing, before the acting, before the artists that we here have with you today. Let's talk about where you're born, where you're raised, and like what are like the first influences in your life by, your parents, your family, your upbringing. Give us a little picture of what that looks like, where you end up.
Hmm. Yeah, so I was born and raised in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. I do consider myself a Montrealer, but I've recently discovered that calling myself a Quebecer is like a harder label for me just because of all the connotations and how I grew up, which I grew up in a household that's Ukrainian. Both my parents are Ukrainian immigrants. And so, kind of growing up speaking Ukrainian, but then learning English and French at the same time, and eventually learning Spanish. I feel like I'm influenced by a whole lot of different cultures at the same time. But initially, when I grew up, it was really just like this Ukrainian household where there were a lot of immigrant values. So it was very different from the Quebec culture, I would say. And the Ukrainian community here in Montreal is very focused on having the kids that grow up here in Montreal kind of be in touch with the Ukrainian culture. So I went to
Oh,
Ukrainian school every Saturday. I would
wow.
sing and like do dance classes, had like piano lessons with a Ukrainian teacher. So it's like I was very ingrained in the Ukrainian culture that we have here in Montreal. And
Mm,
that has definitely shaped who I have become just because of obviously the values that I have, but also just kind of getting more and more in touch with music because that was always kind of part
mm,
of the Ukrainian culture. And I feel like I didn't realize it at the time, but now looking back, I'm like, yeah, I loved it. Like I got into this because of how much singing there was of like singing by the fire, singing folk songs and all these
mm.
harmonies and things that were kind of like ingrained in my subconscious from a young age. And
Wow.
yeah.
Wow, that's so cool. So tell me, then it sounds like music was a big element in your childhood. Uh, what did it look like? Like, what was the first few instances that music entered in your life, and maybe even when did it start to dawn upon you as something you might want to do as you grow up and be a grown up kind of thing?
Mm. I remember this one specific instance. I think I was 6 years old in my living room. And I don't know if I was wearing like a tutu after like a ballet class or something, but I
Uh-huh.
feel like I was like a pink tutu. And I remember this one specific moment. I was just in my living room and I was like 6 and I was like, I'm going to be a rock star someday. And I don't
I
know
love
why.
that.
I think it's so funny how like our inner children have like such a strong intuition and we don't know why, but we just know what we're going to accomplish in life, who we're going to become in a weird
Uh-huh.
way. And so yeah, that was like one of the like a marking instance in my life, I guess, that thought that just keeps coming back. But apart from that,
Mm,
just growing up in the Ukrainian cultures, as I kind of mentioned, we do have lots of singing. And when I went to Ukrainian camps, it was like a
mm,
2 week summer camp where I was always like in this in nature, in this beautiful
wow.
place surrounded by other people that spoke Ukrainian, and we were kind of just like singing songs together by the fire, doing a lot
Wow.
of other activities, sports, obviously, just like swimming, a lot of fun stuff, learning about history, and a lot of different things. But
Mm,
because there was so much singing in that, I think that kind of got me involved in that. And
mm.
my mom's best friend was a singer-songwriter and is, and she wrote this one album. She wrote 2 albums for herself, recorded them and like released them. And at the time it was CDs, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. And then she
Wow.
wrote one for kids, but she didn't
Mm.
have anyone to sing it because she wanted like kids' voices for it. So she was like,
Oh,
"Oh well, my
cool.
best friend has a kid. That she's like the right age. Let's let her sing on it." So it was me, and she found a couple other kids. So we were like a little group of 3 kids that were just like singing the songs, and she was basically coaching us through it and kind of teaching us how to
Wow.
sing in the process. So I learned how to harmonize pretty early on, and I had an ear for it because of that. And my mom sang in a choir. She used to sing me to sleep every night. So I
Aw.
feel like it's just always been around me in that regard. And it's just
Mm.
grown. It's just been a whole process in which I kind of like lost track of it for some part of my childhood because I didn't feel like I was good enough, or like some traumatic
Oh,
experiences in a
wow.
way happened where I was like, I'm not good enough to be this thing. And then I went into acting
Mm.
instead because it was like the closest thing to it. And I
Oh.
discovered a new layer of my personality, of a facet that I can kind of explore, because being an
Mm.
actor is also so liberating. And now I'm in a place where I am both in touch with my acting and my singing, and I use it in my music videos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm able to kind of like go in and out of those two personas that have those two careers that have shaped me. And
Wow.
I think that the theater part of my training has definitely shaped the way that I perform in my singing performances, because I'm able to really interact with the crowd. And that's like the thing that I
Mhm.
love doing most. So,
Mm.
yeah.
That's so cool. So there's that origin story moment where you were dancing in the tutu knowing you're gonna be a rock
Mhm.
star, which now you are. So tell me, what was that maybe origin moment for acting? Was it similar, around the same time? What do you think, maybe where the acting bug bit you, kinda thing?
Mm. So I think it was a little bit later because I was in high school,
Okay.
and I just didn't really know how to express myself fully. I feel like high school years are sometimes very awkward where you're like, I should follow what these people do, or I should like
Mhm.
you're trying out different directions and trying to kind of follow where people take you around, the people around you take you, because you don't
Mhm.
really
Mhm.
know who you are yet in a way.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if it was like a friend of mine that took an acting class or what it was, but I think that I decided no, like I want to try this out, and I don't know why, but I just want to try it out. So I think in
Mm.
secondaire 2, I started taking like a little um like parascolaire activity. I don't know how
Yeah,
to say
yeah.
parascolaire. Yeah. Yeah.
Extracurricular and
Extracurricular.
grade 8. Yeah, for the
Yes.
American audiences that are like, "What's a
Hmm.
secondaire de?"
Yes.
But yes,
Grade
yeah.
8.
So you took
Yeah.
an extracurricular in acting or theater kinda thing?
It was theater, yeah. And in
Cool.
grade 9, I had to choose like a concentration. So, kind of like a
Oh.
thing where I had to focus my energies into one specific field. So, you can choose
Oh.
either theater, you can choose something in kind of like film and communications, you can choose something more science
Mm.
based, something like sports related. So, there's a lot of different
Yeah.
choices in that specific high school. And I chose theater. So, I was like, my grade
Oh.
8th was kind of like a taste of it, trying it out. And then I
Yes.
got like a lead role in it or something. And I was like, what is this? And like, I get to explore, I get to be someone who's not myself. And because I guess I was shy at the time. Like I was bubbly to a certain
Yeah.
extent, but I think I had so many notions of like, oh, I shouldn't do this and I shouldn't do that. And so many
Mm.
preconceived notions of who I should be, that it was very
Right.
liberating to get into a space of like, I can be whoever the fuck I want to be. I don't
Yes.
know if this is an explicit or
Yes,
non-explicit
you could
podcast.
say fuck, shit, fuck.
Perfect. But yeah, I could be whoever I wanted to be on that stage. So that was
Nice.
really liberating. And I think that that was when
Ah.
the acting bug bit me. And I just continued um, in high school, like my process of high school years, doing some theater. And then I went
Mhm.
into theater school officially in college. And
Yeah.
that was an experience in itself. That was also very just taught me a lot about myself, obviously.
Mm.
And that also is the experiences that brought me back into music through going to theater
Yes.
school, because I had another moment that kind of like where there was like a déclic that happened, and it was like, okay, I need to do both of these things. I can't just focus on one or the other. So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Well, yeah. Well, then maybe let's talk about that. What was that moment? Because you went to Dawson College, like the theater program there, professional theater program. I'm
Yeah.
curious, what were the moments, or the moment that while you were at this 3-year conservatory program, where you were like, oh, like I need to take care of this music in me too at the same time, and what, like, how did that influence the decisions that you took both at Dawson and then afterwards, you know?
I think that I wasn't too in touch with my singing from my high school years up until like my second college year.
Oh,
So it
wow. Okay.
was
Yeah.
quite a couple of years where I was like kind of in and out. Like I knew that I loved music, but I was like, no, I shouldn't be doing this because I'm not good enough at this kind of thing.
Oh,
And that was
wow.
the belief that I held onto for the longest time.
Wow.
And I think it was like this perfectionism in me and knowing that I had to be the best if I wanted to pursue this thing definitely
Yeah.
influenced that. But it's funny to see how in my college years, my first college years, my acting was very like I want to say square because I wanted to do everything right, but it's like it or not,
Oh.
there's no right way to act. It's really what you feel intuitively is right for the role. But it's so easy in an institutionalized context to be like, okay, I need to do what's right so that I get the best grade and all these things. And I feel like having gone to a high school that was pretty competitive too, that also was ingrained to me from a
Mm.
young age, and the Ukrainian community, like kind of like everything in my life kind of made me believe that it's this way or no way at all. Um,
Wow.
and so there was this one particular moment, or like a one particular teacher that like kind of brought it to my attention that I couldn't do things
Mm.
perfectly and that I had to let go of my
Oh,
perfectionism initially. The year after
wow.
that, my second year in theater school, and it was right, that's the thing. I also was I went to theater school during the COVID years, unfortunately. So I did a year and a
Oh,
half in
yes,
person.
right. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Les péripéties, they're just yeah, so I did a year and a half of in-person theater school and a year and a half of
Wow.
online
Oh
theater
my
school, which was an
god.
interesting
Oh
experience in
my
itself.
god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the first year and a
Wow.
half, that last show that I did
Yeah.
right before the last show that I did right before the pandemic hit,
Yes.
that was the show that kind of brought me back to music, because what ended up
Oh,
happening is
cool.
that I auditioned for the singing part of that show.
Uh-huh.
Um, that director, Michael E. Hughes, bless that man's soul, love him. Um, he wanted someone to sing a song
Mm.
at the end of the play kind of thing. And I
Oh,
just remember
cool.
it being opening night. I auditioned for it, I got it, and I was like, yay, cool. I still love singing. This is still something that I'm decently good enough if I got the part
Yeah.
for that. Um, and so opening night happens and everybody's like, oh my God, I went amazing. And like my acting, I wasn't even worried about it. I was like, okay, great. I did a good job, blah, blah, blah. Then moving on to like the last part of like the last scene is where I had to sing. Like the ending closing scene of the play is where I had to sing. And I think that my singing teacher from back in the days that initially made me believe that I wasn't good enough was in the audience that night, which is why I was like extra nervous. And I performed so badly. I wasn't, my voice was super shaky and like I
Uh-huh.
didn't have control over my voice. So I ended up like performing not as well as I wanted to at all. And I remember everybody during opening night after that kind of like talking, being like, oh my God, congrats, we did this, we did that. And it's like, I was bawling my eyes out. Like everybody was so happy and I was bawling my eyes out because I thought that I was like, guys, I'm so sorry I disappointed you. Like, this is,
Oh,
I sang so
wow.
badly, this, that. And so it's just that emotion that really stuck in my head because the pandemic hit a few
Wow.
days after that. We closed the show, like,
Oh
I
my
think it was like a
god. Yeah,
4 night
wow.
show, right? So it's like opening night,
Yeah.
a couple more shows. And right, like literally that next weekend,
Yeah,
everything
they're
shut
like,
down.
don't come to school. We're gonna wait for a week for this to pass. Okay, we're gonna wait for 2 weeks to this to pass. Okay,
Yeah.
now all your degree is gonna be online.
Yeah, basically. Oh, what an
Wow.
interesting time. It's gonna be weird to
Yeah,
describe that to like future
I love
generations.
it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It will be. Yeah,
What a
definitely.
trip. But yeah, I basically everything stopped functioning after that play. And
Mm-hmm,
so
mm-hmm.
I had some time to reflect. And even my theater teacher, like that director of that
Mike
play,
Hughes. Yeah.
yes, he put me in contact with a friend of his who was teaching at NTS, the National Theatre School,
Oh, cool.
also in Montreal, but who was teaching singing,
Wow.
who was giving vocal lessons. So he kind of gave me a few workshops before that. And I just realized, like, with some reflection and the time that I had at home, I was like, well,
Hmm.
if if me singing badly disappointed me so much that I got to a
Yeah.
point where like I'm bawling my eyes out because I'm not good enough at it, then it's like, what's stopping me from getting better at it? Like I should just get some
Wow.
training in that so that I actually improve and
Wow.
am good enough in it, you know?
That's
So that
cool.
was yeah, that was kind of like the turning point for me. So I'm really grateful to that
Wow.
specific teacher, Michael E. Hughes, who
Yeah.
kind of pushed me to do that, and he knew that I had it in me and was very
Hmm.
just like inspired me to do that. So very grateful to him, and I ended up taking vocal lessons that whole COVID year with
Wow.
that other teacher, Doug,
Nice.
that he introduced me to. And after that, I kind of applied to Concordia with that knowledge. And
Mm.
here I am 4 years later with a bachelor's degree in jazz vocal performance.
Yes, yes, indeed,
Yeah.
yes, indeed, and jazzy
Yeah.
jazz, and you've not only done that you got a bachelor's degree, but you launched yourself as a vocal artist. You've built a
Mhm.
following. You've been in incredible stages, and you've been in different venues all over, like Montreal, and different places, and you've sang at concerts for the Ukraine. You've been a huge influence through your voice and your music now. And
Mhm.
also, you write, like, I think all of your songs are, unless
Yeah.
I'm mistaken, are self-written too. So you're not
Yeah.
only an actor, a singer, but you're also a writer too. So tell me, maybe, and maybe this is backtracking at some point, maybe, because I want to know, when did songwriting or writing also enter your life, and what were like the
Mm.
defining moments there?
Yeah. I think songwriting, I just remember being 16 when I kind of wrote something more similar to a song structure kind of thing. Because
Cool.
I think that I've always written a little bit.
Okay.
And with theater kind of being in my life with high school and like writing scripts throughout like that, those
Yeah.
extracurricular activities that I had. And it was kind of already part of me. I liked poetry. But at
Hmm.
16, I think is when I had like my first like big breakup or something like that.
Yep.
I think
Yep.
that that's
Yeah.
when
I've
I
been there.
started writing. It's always that, right? It's like it's a heartbreak, and you're just like,
Yeah.
what do I
Yeah.
do with
Yeah.
all these
Yeah.
feelings? So I
Yes.
think it was like
Beautiful.
I think I met someone during like this acting, singing kind of workshop camp in
Nice.
LA. And it was like a lot of
Nice.
people from different parts of the world. And I was like, it was my first experience kind of like
Whoa.
traveling when I was
Wow.
16 and being in a place with so many different cultures. And like, I fell in
Uh-huh.
love with someone there. And it was like a
Oh, I
week
love
long
it.
thing. But then
Yes.
like I live in Montreal and they live like in the Caribbean. So it was like, okay, like this
It's
is never
not
going to
gonna
happen.
work.
But
Wow.
the songs that I wrote about the longing, that was probably like the
Oh.
first time that I wrote. And I just continued writing a little bit, not very consistently at first. But then when I
Mm-hmm.
got into music school, I remember like showing these little bits and pieces of stuff to the first friends that I made in university. And again, I'm really
Mm.
grateful to them because they were the ones being like, yeah, this is great. And at the time, I didn't believe in myself. So it was amazing to hear from someone
Oh.
else that they valued my work so that I was able to kind
Wow.
of, thanks to them, get to a point where I was like, okay, well, I believe in myself now. And now I can make this happen for
Mm.
myself. But that was probably the first time that I started thinking of my songs as something that can be released under my own project name, under my own
Mm.
artist name, and just kind of putting it out there in the world and to share it and be vulnerable in that sense.
Wow. Okay.
So that
Okay. So
was
this only started when
2021.
you Okay, so you just started university at this point, the jazz
Yeah.
program at Concordia?
hmm
That's when
In
you started
2021.
releasing your music into the world?
I started release like my first song was actually released the 7th, like in December of 2022,
Oh.
but the songs were being written starting from 2021. So I think
Yes. So
2023 onwards was when I really started to kind of embrace my singing career in a artistic
okay.
persona kind of way.
Okay, so I guess you were writing songs and poetry and writings from that moment at 16 during a little bit, I'm sure, your time at Dawson. And
hmm
then I'm just curious because I know the process when it comes to Dawson's audition process. I would love to know what you did for your audition for Dawson. And I would also love to know how does one audition for the jazz program and what that was like. So, and what you learned from both of those
hmm
experiences. So let's talk about Dawson first.
Yeah. I mean, it was so long ago that I have a hard time remembering, but I'm pretty sure it was like
Yeah.
one Shakespearean monologue. And I did
Yes.
not know anything about Shakespeare at the time. So it's like I wasn't understanding any of those words. Because let me tell you, that language is intense at first. And I recently watched Hamnet and I was actually surprised
Oh
at the
my
fact that I
God.
understood everything.
It
I was
was
like,
so
oh,
good.
yeah, it was
Yes.
amazing. I cried so much.
Me
But
too. I cried so much.
yeah, it was so good. But yeah, I think that just being in that movie theater and being around my sister and my mom who haven't studied theater and we're like, "Oh,
Uh-huh.
so what did he say? I don't understand anything." And I was like, "Oh, what do you mean?
Oh,
Like it was this and this that happened." So it's funny how now
wow.
looking back that theater training is serving me in so many
Mm,
different ways and even in like I didn't think that that would
yes.
kind of come up in such a daily activity, I guess, in my
True.
life. But I think there
Cool.
was a Shakespearean monologue that we had to audition with and a
Yeah.
contemporary monologue. I
You
can't
don't
remember.
remember?
I can't remember. Maybe it was Romeo and Juliet, just because it's such a
Yes.
classic, but at the same
It's a good
time, it
one.
was like the only one that I really, really knew about. Like I didn't know much about
Yeah.
Shakespeare at the time, and I think it's really
Okay.
throughout my time in theater school that I was like, holy shit, there's so many
Yes.
gems in Shakespearean writing and so many different stories and stuff that's just been
Yeah.
recreated. You don't really
Yeah.
notice it all the time, but
Yeah.
I
Lion
think it
King
must
is
have.
Hamlet. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah. It's
many different
everywhere in
things.
culture.
Yeah.
Just not everybody knows
Universal.
about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think it was probably Romeo and Juliet because I was definitely. I think I did Romeo's monologue.
Oh, nice.
Through
Gender
yonder.
bended that. Love it.
Yes, I think so. I think so. I might have not. I can't remember,
Cool.
but I feel like I was already kind of leaning into my queerness in that regard. Um,
Nice.
yeah, I can't remember for the life of me, but I think it was more
And
like
do
I
you
was so
remember
excited
your
at the
song?
time.
Do you remember? Because I think it's a Shakespeare, a contemporary, and a song. No, do you not remember? Because I remember I sang "I Will Survive," and I'm pretty sure no matter what my monologues were, I got in because of that song.
Yeah, I will survive.
Yeah,
That's amazing. That's an amazing
it's a good
choice.
one, man. It's
It's such
just
a
so
good one.
theatrical,
It
and it's
is.
like it was almost like I unintentionally was practicing the art of letting go. You know, of like I
Mm-hmm.
was like, what? I'm going to have fun while doing this song. I will sing my heart out saying, I will survive. And like, I don't care about getting into this at all because you're not welcome anymore. You know, like I was just like so in that song that I left going like, whatever. I had the best time of my life, you know?
What's
So,
really funny too is that I Will Survive is probably the song that I enjoy singing most at my cover gigs because I can be so
wow.
theatrical with it.
It's so fun.
I'm
Yeah.
really just like going all out and I'm going like the key and locked out the door. Like I'm always like making these such theatrical moves and people must think I'm crazy, but I love it and I thrive on that.
Nice.
So I'm really,
Yeah.
yeah, that was a great
You
choice. Great
understand.
choice.
It's a
hmm
good song. It's a great song.
Yeah, and I think I met someone who was already in the program and I asked them for
Oh,
advice and I was like, "Hey,
oh,
what's
cool.
what did you do?" And they were like, "Oh, well, for all I care, I think I sang Happy Birthday and people have entered the program singing Happy Birthday."
Oh,
So
true. I heard
I
of
feel
that
like a lot
too.
of people told me that. But I can't remember which song it was. Maybe it was like, no. I'm thinking of Bohemian Rhapsody, but I don't think I did that because that would have been really theatrical too. I would
That
have
would
loved
be, yeah.
that. But I don't think I was. that in touch with myself and what I actually wanted. I was like, okay, this is
Oh,
what they want to hear,
wow.
so let me do this,
Oh,
you
wow. That's
know?
so cool. That's why maybe you have trouble remembering it, because you maybe were so nervous. So, like, I want to please them. Like, what's like the best choice to
Mm-hmm.
get it right? So, it's cool. It sounds like like in your first year, that was the lesson you got from whichever teacher this was. You can
Mm-hmm.
feel free to name them or not, but letting go of perfectionism, right? And that's
Mm-hmm.
been a challenge for you, but it seems like by also putting out your music, that's a huge vulnerable thing to do. And so it's so nice that you were able to start to do that, as you were going into this new program at Concordia. So tell me, what was the application process to get into the jazz program there?
Mm-hmm. So I initially got into the classical program actually because I figured that because they
Yes,
had like a
right.
jazz program, they had a classical program and
Right.
an electroacoustics program. So
Oh my.
electroacoustics is a lot more production oriented. Then
Okay.
there was classical and jazz. And I thought, because I didn't know anything about jazz at all, I was like, okay, well, I'll go into the classical because I figured that it would be more contemporary pop. And from what I had discovered on the
Ah,
website, I thought it was going to be a lot more pop centered or just like
yes.
contemporary centered, which it was a lot of classical theory when I first got there in the
Ah,
first year. And I eventually switched into jazz. And when I switched into jazz, I had a different process of auditioning. So when I'm
mm,
talking about the first audition process, it was to get into the classical. I think they
okay.
required us to do two songs, three songs total. One of
Whoa.
them, yeah, three songs total, I think. I remember doing one in Ukrainian, like a Ukrainian pop
Nice.
song, one that
Cool.
was kind of like a really gritty, like rock ballad kind of thing.
Nice.
And I was really obsessed with that song at the time, but it's not that popular. It's called Heal Me, I think. And it was like a
Oh.
gritty, like slow rock thing. And what was
Oh,
the third
cool.
song? I don't know if it
By
was
which
something.
artist? Which artist?
I'd have to look it up. I'd have to look it up because
Could
I
you
can't
could
remember.
you do you remember any of the bars of those two songs?
I think it's like, I need you to heal me, feel me, da, 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 like something very like gritty, and it's like,
Oh, I like
and I
that.
didn't know how to belt at the time, like so many different things, and I was like, da,
Wow.
da, 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 da. Like I knew that I needed to like put some grit into it, but I couldn't necessarily translate the like. I'd have to rewatch those videos. You know what? Like
That's
it'd be so interesting
cool.
to rewatch that and like
Oh, you did a
figure out.
tape for them. You didn't do them live?
No, it was a tape. It was a tape
Whoa,
because it was still
wow.
COVID years and all that good stuff.
My gosh, true.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa. Wow.
Yeah. And then
So
when
did
I
your
was
degree
auditioning,
begin online in that sense, in the classical
yeah,
program?
I had
Whoa.
some lessons that were
In
online, some
person?
classes that were online in that first semester. The
Uh-huh.
second semester was in person, but we were still wearing masks in that
Oh my
second semester.
lord. Yeah, wow.
Yeah. But I started
Whoa.
taking you can take like private study classes, which is like one-on-one with a teacher, with a vocal teacher, specifically
Yeah.
because if I was studying classical voice, well, I could choose my teacher, and I chose a jazz
Oh.
teacher. So I
Ah,
got into
nice.
jazz because I was
Yes.
studying with that teacher one on one, and she
Mm.
ended up showing me, like, kind of introducing me to jazz, and I fell in love with it throughout
Mm.
my years there. And I was like, I don't think that this classical thing is aligned with me. It feels a little bit too straight, too square for me. And so I
Mm.
auditioned for the jazz program with a couple of songs that she kind of taught me that second semester that I was there, like the first year in the classical program. So technically I was in the classical program, but that first year I was already discovering jazz in that regard.
Mm.
And the jazz tunes that I auditioned for, it's so funny how like you're so obsessed with one thing and
Mhm.
you sometimes you just like move on and you have so many different things happen in your life that you don't even fully remember the details, but they used to be so important to you. So I feel like that's so funny for me to try to remember, and I'm like, I can't remember for the life of me. I think I had like Dream a Little Dream of Me, which is not that
Nice.
jazzy, but it was like more in the pop realm. Uh, or maybe that was because we had to perform juries, and juries are like the most stressful thing. It's like you're
Oh.
singing in front of like the three teachers in the jazz program,
Mhm.
and every semester you had to do that. So every time that I would have that, I would sing awfully. So I think that it stemmed from like my performance anxiety. And interestingly enough, later on, I did hypnosis to kind of cure my performance anxiety. And I feel like it
Whoa.
was a huge game changer with one of those teachers, actually, because she was
Wow.
starting to get into hypnotherapy. Sienna Dallin,
Wow.
she's an amazing jazz vocalist and now hypnotherapist. So yeah, so that was a whole thing. But because I think that I can sing well, but throughout the 4 years that I was in jazz school, I realized that when it came to those specific contexts in front of those three teachers, I would always give a bad performance. So I was like, what's going
Whoa.
on? Why do I suddenly have like this, tightness in my
Wow.
vocal cords? I can't control my vocal cords as much. And now it's gotten to a point where it's like, even if I'm nervous, I at least can control my voice because I've worked on those muscles for so long now that I am able to do whatever I need to, even with the nerves. It might not sound
Whoa.
the best, but it'll still be at 90% and not at 100 kind of thing. Instead of before, when I didn't train my voice, it was like I was at like 15% when I was nervous because
Whoa.
everything was kind of lost and I hadn't worked on it for long enough to kind of develop those muscles. So it's like anything, you build a foundation and then you just grow upon that foundation. But at least when
Mm.
things are rough or if there's any challenges that present themselves, you can always come back to that foundation and you're more grounded in that specific space.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
yeah. I hope that answers
Nice.
your question. I know we kind of like
Yes, it
divulge in
does.
different
No, it's
topics.
good. No, that's great. No, it's so cool. It's so cool to hear about that hypnotherapy. What do you think? What unlocked for you that even today you're like, wow, like I'm glad I had that experience? What was it about hypnotherapy that opened things up for you?
I think just generally speaking, being an artist is so ingrained with being spiritually connected or just connected to
Mm,
yourself at the end of the day. It's like you need to, if you want to act well, you need to realize, okay, how am I feeling on this given day? Am I feeling grounded? Am I feeling anxious? And kind of just changing up your energy in a conscious way to get to a
mm,
different place. If you know that you're playing a character that's super relaxed and chill, and well, that's not who I am in my day to day right now, at least. So, how do I embrace this character,
yeah.
that does have this energy because I've been in that space? How can I kind of get back into that space? So,
Mm.
you definitely were a big influence on me in that regard with meditation and kind of like ingraining that into my
Oh,
practice and kind of making
nice.
it making me realize how important of a thing that was. Because I think that when we started working together coaching wise, you just
Mm-hmm.
spoke to me about how important meditation was. And I was like, okay,
Mm.
cool. And I didn't really know much. No, like I didn't know much
Yeah,
about it. So I was
yeah,
like, okay,
yeah.
great. Let's check it out kind of thing. But it's definitely been a game changer. And now it's like
Oh,
I'm
nice.
fully in it. Like I do EFT tapping whenever I feel nervous. And I'm like,
Oh,
okay, do
wow.
you know EFT
No,
tapping?
tell us more. What's EFT
Okay.
tapping?
Okay. I actually don't remember what it stands for, but EFT tapping is a thing where you basically tap certain points of your body. You tap it like here on you. I don't even know what this
Mm.
part of the body is called. People will see.
It's like somewhere near the palm of your hand, like the bottom. If you were to do a hi-ya chop kind of thing, it's right there. Yeah, this is for
Yeah.
the listeners who are like, what are they even talking about?
But yeah, you tap at different points of your body in a specific order, in a specific context, and
Uh-huh.
you basically acknowledge and say out loud the things that you're scared of like,
Oh, wow.
yeah, you start by tapping and you say those things out loud. And by the end
Mm-hmm.
of that session, let's say it's a 5 minute EFT tapping session, they're usually guided. There's a bunch of videos on YouTube.
Cool.
And you get to a point at the end where you've turned your subconscious limiting beliefs into a positive. So if you're like,
Oh,
okay, I
nice.
feel like an imposter for doing this thing in my life, then you tap, 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 you say the script that he kind of says, you repeat it after that person that's guiding you. And
Mm-hmm.
at the end, you get to a point where you're like, no, like I am meant to be doing this thing because, yeah, I don't know how it really works. I think it's just the fact that your subconscious beliefs are ingrained in your body. And by tapping
Yeah.
through those specific points,
Yeah.
you kind of change the script in your body. So it's a way to
Oh,
actually start
cool.
believing it. And obviously it's not going to change overnight. You have to like keep repeating it. So
Yeah.
EFT tapping has been a game changer whenever I'm nervous. I do a lot of sleep
Nice.
hypnosis. Like I put on sleep hypnosis videos before going to bed in the morning,
Nice.
affirmations, gratitude journals. So again, gratitude, you were
Nice.
definitely one
Yes.
person that put me onto
Yeah.
that. So
Nice.
yeah, in that regard, I think that being, as I was saying earlier, I think that being an artist is very ingrained with spirituality and just being conscious and aware of your state of being.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
I don't know how exactly hypnosis kind of came about. I think that it was just like she was my teacher and it came very naturally to me. I think she mentioned it and said, if you want, I have this thing that I can offer you. Or somebody else told me about her services. And because she was my teacher, sometimes it's
Mhm.
like in a professional context, you don't necessarily want to break that structure of like, okay, let's do a session outside of classes. So I don't think we really discussed it upon until like my later years when she wasn't actually my teacher and I was studying with a different
Yeah.
teacher. But she was kind of getting into hypnosis therapy and she was looking for people to do it on. And I was like,
Yeah, the
I mean,
practice, yeah.
yeah. And as a friend, I had told her because I wasn't studying with her at the time anymore.
Yeah.
And I told her, like, yeah, I feel like in juries, like you saw me perform at my last jury, and I don't feel like I did a good job. But all semester I worked
Mm.
so hard, and I think that I did improve. But my end of year exam didn't wasn't representative of that. And I'm wondering what I can
Yeah.
do about that. And that's when she kind of told me about hypnotherapy. And yeah, just generally speaking, I've been kind of going to more and more holistic healers. And that's been a big
Cool.
part of my journey as well, because I think that believing in yourself as an actor, as a creative, as a singer, it all stems from your own limiting beliefs, right? It's like you have to
Mm.
break those limiting beliefs to be able to get to a point where you're like, okay, I am meant to be on set. Like I'm
Mm.
grateful to have been called to audition for this part and not kind of,
Mhm.
yeah, it's a weird in between because when those limiting beliefs are there and you're not really aware of them, then you're kind of going to do everything to kind of sabotage, or even in subconscious ways,
Mm.
sometimes you're going to want to delay or procrastinate working on a script because you don't feel like you deserve it, kind of thing. So,
Mm. Yeah.
yeah, it's all a vicious cycle in that regard.
Wow, but it's cool that you're breaking that cycle with these types of healing and types of activities that have also enhanced your limitless beliefs, your abundance beliefs, your beliefs in
Hmm.
yourself. I find one thing I admired about you too was you're an improviser too. Like I saw that like after theater school, you started doing improv at the amazing Theater St. Catherine in Montreal and
Hmm.
all over town. You were doing, and I still see you doing improv in your shows with like you said, interaction with your audience. Would you mind sharing us maybe some highlights of like your maybe improv career of like some things that funny moments or great discoveries that you had? You've and also feel free to tell me who are your mentors were in that space. I have probably similar mentors, but what did
Hmm.
you learn by doing a bit of improv along the way in your journey?
Yeah, I think the biggest lesson that kind of came up for me in improv was that it doesn't really matter who laughs or who doesn't laugh at you. It doesn't really matter what you do. It's really about the presence that you have in a way
Mm-hmm.
where it's like you're vulnerable, you're in a space where you say everything that comes first to your mind. So it was an exercise for me to be able to fully let myself all the limiting beliefs go and just be like, okay, I'm showing up as me in the version that I am today. And
Mm-hmm.
I might never be this version of me again, but here I am, accept me as I am. So to heal that perfectionism, I think that it was very related. Like
Mm-hmm.
uh, it did kind of trigger a lot of my perfectionism in a way where it's like, oh, but I wanted to perform this and I should have said this. And it's like, no, that moment was live and it happened in that moment because it was meant to happen in that moment, and just
Yeah.
taking it for what it is and embracing that. So
Mm.
improv was a great way of kind of letting go of everything that didn't serve me and just saying the first thing that came to
Mm.
mind, and also just like creating relationships with the people that
Mm-hmm.
you have on stage, but actually clarifying the story in a way that is very productive to the audience's understanding of the story.
Mm.
So in that same way, I think that I think about relationships in my day-to-day life in a similar fashion, because I'm like, okay, the audience to me are the people that are paying to come see my shows as a singer. So it's like I wouldn't be on stage if they weren't there attending the show. Or at least it wouldn't have the same energy, because if it's an empty
Yeah.
room, then it's like, woo, I'm singing for myself. Let me just have fun. But it's like,
Uh-huh.
how do I have fun? Like, it's improv is all about having fun, but doing it in in a way that's safe for you. So I guess I just wanted to
Oh,
recreate that, what I learned in improv, into my own singing. So I guess I just like
oh, cool.
subconsciously incorporated all the things that I've learned, like in theater school, in improv, and now I just really want to make the audience feel like they're part of what I'm doing. Like it's a collective
Mm,
thing. You wouldn't have improvised in that same way had you been alone in the room versus only with that person on stage versus with another person on stage. It's like depending on how well you know that actor that you're playing with, or if you have like a super tight relationship or you've had years of experience in history. So many different things, so many like nuggets of wisdom to discover about yourself. I think that if I were to
mm,
return to Theatre de St. Catherine now, I'd have a totally different perspective on things. And I've
mm,
been debating kind of going a little bit, and it's been busy life wise. So
mm-hmm,
I definitely might pop in sometime soon to kind of have a refresher of all those lessons.
mm,
But I think improv in general is just very freeing, and
mm,
learning to learning how to be fully yourself and let everything else go. Let the present moment
mm,
be. And presence is one big thing. As an actor, presence is important. As a singer and performer, just being in a state where people don't really always know what they want when they come see a show, but I think
mm-hmm,
when they see and feel that presence, they innately know like, okay, that's what I'm here for. You go pay tickets to go see
mm,
Lady Gaga or to see like these like Hayley Williams of Paramore, and you
mm-hmm,
can't really tell, like obviously they're amazing vocalists as well technique wise, but it's
mm-hmm,
obviously they always speak their truth. Those two artists, when I think about them, they always share their political beliefs, and they're very open and direct in sharing them. And
mm,
that's another conversation that we can steer into if we want to, that I've been thinking about a lot. It's
mm,
how, as artists, we are inherently political. It's like a
mm,
lot of people think that some people think that art isn't political, but at the end of the day, like, how did society change and evolve? It's
mm-hmm,
through art, through making comments, and sometimes using satire to draw attention to an issue that's
mm,
happening. But so many different things. But that's something that's been playing in my mind lately. It's like, okay, how can my presence and my beliefs and values kind of come together in a space where I get to share them on stage? And one way in
mm,
which I've been doing that lately on stage is just embracing my Ukrainian background and kind of like introducing others to a Ukrainian cheers, which I
oh,
love doing. And
nice.
and it's this thing where we all get to, so there's this thing called budmo. Budmo just means let's live in the present moment kind of thing.
Oh,
And I feel like
nice.
that's really interesting to me.
Yeah,
How now I'm talking about presence, and now this comes to mind.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's basically I call it's like a cheers where I
Yes,
say
let's go.
budmo.
Teach me. Budmo.
Yeah, okay. Budmo. And you're gonna say hey, then budmo,
Hey,
hey, then
hey,
budmo, hey, hey, hey.
hey, hey, hey.
Yeah, so 1 1 1 1
Okay, let's do it.
1 3. And you have to do it as loud as you can. So I don't want to like blast anyone's
Oh,
ears off if you want to get a little bit farther from the mic. But technically,
yeah,
in
I
the
will.
context, in the context of like a performance or a show or something,
Uh-huh.
I want people to scream, like you want people to hear you outside
Oh,
of the venue
yeah.
kind of thing. It's about feeling the collective like hug,
Release
the
and
collective energy,
presence. Oh,
even when I think
nice.
about theater, like the times where I've seen theater, live theater, where you get to be together, I'm like, holy shit, that's
Yeah.
so fun. We all get to like participate even as a crowd, and you don't get to do that
Oh,
as an audience in
nice.
theater sometimes. So yes, let's do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, let's do
Feel
it.
that presence. Ready? Budmo!
Yeah. Hey,
Budmo!
hey,
Budmo!
hey, hey, hey.
Yeah! I love it. I love it. But yeah, that's been an
Wow.
amazing experience. Like, do you feel that kind of that
Yeah,
fire that
I feel
resonates from that?
Ukrainian. I feel ready for
Yeah.
battle. I feel ready for festivities. I feel ready for
Yeah.
all of it. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so cool that like you said, like people aren't just there to watch a display of vocal talent. They're there to have an experience. They're there to feel it together. You include them in your experience, and that's like so brave and also insightful as a singer that you don't, although you're a solo act, Vitalia, like you're Vitalia, but I've also seen many of your shows, and they never feel like a solo show because you also bring live bands with you. And I think because of your jazz training too, potentially, I don't feel like it feels like an improv, even though I know you probably have a
Mm-hmm.
set list or you've practiced with your band. There's just such a freedom that you have as a performer, but also that you give to your bandmates too, and you acknowledge them with the same level of respect that like you're all in this together, and then you include the audience too, you get them to sing
Mm-hmm.
with you, like, so yeah, tell me maybe like another, like maybe a favorite story that you have when it comes to that concert experience, maybe like your first concert where you just really felt it, or like a special memory when it comes to your live performances as a singer.
Mm-hmm. A special performance that comes to mind is my EP release show that happened in April of 2025. So almost a year ago now.
Mm,
Time passes by so
okay.
fast. But I released my first EP in April,
Wow.
and that show was extremely special because I think it was the first time that many people gathered. And I wasn't
Mm,
playing, like, I was headlining the gig. I'm the one who organized everything from A to Z. I'm the one who did the marketing. I'm the one who, like, made sure that people attended, bought tickets. I'm the one who did a bunch of social media content. I
yeah.
got the band together. I organized the rehearsals. Like, I've always been doing that kind of stuff, but at a smaller scale, just because like it's not as big of a show. So let's just do 1, 2 rehearsals or stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
now it's like, okay, let's do like 4 rehearsals in a row. I'm gonna get in ears and buy these things where I look even more like a professional singer, because in ears are like the thing that
Nice.
you get a little
Oh
monitor
yeah.
so you hear yourself even better.
Wow,
So many
cool.
things that I kind of like put together. And there was just like a DJ. Like, it was also my, at the same time as my birthday, so I wanted
Yes.
it to be like a birthday celebration at the same time. And
Yeah.
I got a DJ, one of my friends, to play after that.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a whole fun experience because it was the first time where I knew that everybody in the room was there for me, you know? It wasn't like
That's
they came
nice.
for the other artist or a friend
Yeah.
of, like, obviously I think that some people came there because their friend invited them to come to the show, but that's part of the
Yeah.
experience. It's like, okay, I'm building a fan base, and if you bring one person, then that person that's discovering me now, like, that becomes a fan kind of thing. It's like,
Yeah.
um but it was a special experience because I really got to do whatever I wanted. And similarly to
Mm.
what you said, I think that the jazz training that I had is very much improvisational, in the sense that you
Yeah.
leave space for improvisation. The way that you interact with your band, like, there's space to kind of listen to the music and add on to what you've built on in rehearsal, but kind of just like improvise and do something that's very impromptu, and what you feel intuitively is right in that moment.
Mm.
And so many different things that just went well. And I think it was just a very special experience because everybody was singing the lyrics and they actually knew the lyrics, and I was like, oh my god, people actually know my lyrics now. And and are singing them with me, because at most of my shows, like, I teach people certain parts, and I did teach people certain parts of my song so that they could sing along with me. But
Mm.
yeah, it was, I don't even know how to describe it. I think it was just like from A to Z, just like knowing that I organized all of that. I had merch. I had
Mhm.
a lot of my friends and family show up, and yeah, just people from different contexts of my life show up, and also
Mm.
everybody that, I think 2025 was the first year where I think I started having real fans for the first time, and not just family and friends supporting
Mm.
me, which is also a thing in itself, where it's like, I think that to a certain extent, to have credibility,
Mhm.
you, as an artist, you do need to have people that don't know you personally kind of want
Yeah.
to follow your journey. That's kind of like the point of
Mm.
it all. And it's an interesting dynamic to navigate, but it was the first year where I was like, okay, like, I genuinely have a couple of fans that I know come to support me to every one of my shows, and I'm so grateful for that. And
Wow.
throughout that, like, I've become friends with those people because they've been so supportive of my journey. But yeah, so that was an amazing experience, but there's so many, it's hard to pinpoint just one. I think
Yeah.
it's feeling that presence with the audience, feeling that presence with your bandmates. And because there was so
Mm.
much preparation beforehand, I think the way that I function or organize my shows, at least, it's that I make sure that I can be as present as possible in the moment where it's actually happening. which is why I do all this prep and set list work and rehearsals. And I kind of make points of like what I want to do, what do I want to say between songs if I feel like that's necessary. But in some shows I fully improvise. So which is why I think you were pointing at the fact that there is improvisation. It's like inherently, yeah, it's part of my training, you know? It's part of my training, and vocally it's part of my training acting wise. So
Yeah.
I think I've used everything that I've kind of learned and continue to in different ways as I discover what kind of artist I want to be. And that just changes and changes every year, you know, changes every day, every minute, for all I know.
That's true. That's so real. And I think as a musician, sometimes I think that's part of the pressure, but also part of the journey. I think is reinvention and transformation. I think even as an actor, you know, that's a thing. But I think any artist, they are constantly in reinvention. So that's so cool to hear about. So I know you have a song coming out maybe by the time this is out. It might be out too. Would you mind telling me about that song, but also about maybe your process when it comes to songwriting now?
So this particular next song is called Threesome. So I've been going into like a very interesting direction, which I'm really proud of, but also like, yeah, really proud of in a way, because I never thought that I would get to a place where I'd be so comfortable talking about my sexuality in that specific kind of way. And it's been a journey to get here, because I feel like the Vitalia from like a year ago, from 2 years ago, 5 years ago, like I had a different opinion of all these things. And now that I'm here, I'm like, this is my way of, you know, being a feminist and kind of just drawing people's attention to the fact that women are going to get criticized no matter what, you know, no matter what their desires are, if whether they're a prude or whether they're too much of a slut, entre guillemets, like in quotation marks, because it's like I do feel like I've been listening to a lot of podcasts about that too, and how women have been viewed throughout society and their role in society and all these things. And it feels I feel like a lot of women are going to relate to my message when I say that whether they dress one way or another, they're no matter what, they're always going to be criticized about something in their physical appearance, for example. And even when it comes to sexually expressing themselves or expressing their desires, I feel like it's a thing that a lot of women haven't felt comfortable sharing. So even just finding out from my friends, knowing that they've never experienced a certain type of pleasure and they weren't comfortable enough sharing that with their partners, for me was like, okay, there's a problem here, and why aren't we able to talk about it? How can we start talking about it? It's about discussing it with your friends first and foremost, for sure, but also being comfortable enough with yourself to be able to express that desire if you have it. And so I'm kind of going to give a little perspective shift in regards to like my last project, which was like a sad girl pop era, I like to call it. It was like all about all those songs that from my April EP of April 2025 EP were breakup songs of a certain kind, most of them at least. And it definitely delved into like, I want to say deeper lyrics in a way where it's like, I think that it was more poetic. There was more kind of depth to it in that regard. And now this next project is called my Hot Girl Summer Era, where it's a lot more catchy, a lot more bouncy, a lot simpler, a lot more repetitive. And it's interesting for me to kind of like even have a perspective shift for myself and be like, okay, I can be this type of songwriter, but I can also be this type of songwriter. I can really decide whatever I'm feeling in the moment. And so, yeah, like my first couple of singles, like one of them, the first one that I released is called, out of this like Hot Girl Summer Era, is Rebound Sex. The last one that I released is Eat Me Out, Spit Me Out. And this next one is Threesome. So it's definitely very sexually themed.
Wow.
But it's easy to see the surface level of it and be like, okay, well, clearly she's just horny, or clearly this. And like people can always make assumptions, right? It's like, what's funny is that also came from a breakup. I was like, okay, breakup happened, and I'm in a space where like I want to give myself this love. And realizing, yeah, okay, that partner wasn't necessarily what I needed. And just discovering yourself in so many different ways. And I'm just excited to share this message. Obviously, if it
Yeah.
seems, people can interpret it in whichever way they want to, but my goal with this is to provoke people into speaking more about this. It's like, why aren't we
Mm.
comfortable talking about sexuality, specifically for women? You know, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
why can't we express these desires? Why do we feel like we need to repress them or not share about them? Or like, we're going to be seen as this type of person if we say this, or this type of person if we don't say that. Like, so many preconceived notions about, you know, sexuality. And I think it's just important to express ourselves as authentically as we can. And
Mm.
people are always going to have opinions no matter what. So we should do what feels right to us, and we'll find the people that are most aligned with us. It doesn't really
Mm.
matter what others say or what others do or how they perceive you. So
Wow.
that's what I'm excited about with this EP. But yeah, my next
Wow.
single is releasing on February 9th. It's kind of like an anti-Valentine's thing. You know, it's like Valentine's Day is on the 14th. I'm releasing it on February 9th, and it's
Yeah.
like threesome. So it's like, what's wrong with
Well, if two people want to be your Valentines, then it actually is a Valentine's Day song for those people.
Exactly.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's been an interesting journey, even like as a person, to get to a place where I can write these and actually release these. And yeah, I
Mm.
think that what's most important to me right now is speaking my truth in whichever way it comes out, raw or not.
Mm.
And people can have their own opinions no matter what. And just my message to you, everyone, is to express themselves as authentically as they can. That's it.
Would you mind giving us a little tease as to maybe your favorite part of that song?
So I was actually shooting the first part of the music video for
Oh,
this
cool.
yesterday.
Okay.
So I guess my favorite part, in a way, it's hard to pinpoint a favorite part, because I think that the way that I kind of wrote that song was, I was in the studio with a specific producer, and I told him, like, I love Kaytranada. Like, Kaytranada is one of my favorite artists. I love
Uh-huh.
the bounciness that he has in his beats. It's very repetitive. There's something so addictive to his beats. Like, no matter if he released something 5 years ago, I still want to listen to it now. And I'm never tired of the songs, no matter how long, like how much I listen to them, which is rare sometimes. I feel like you get caught up in being like, okay, I'm done with the song. Like, I want to move on, find something new. And somehow I keep coming back to Kaytranada. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I don't know if I'm going to answer your question in regards to like the favorite thing, but what I can expand upon is the fact that I wanted to have a music video that is very different from the lyrics, because the lyrics are very descriptive,
Ah,
very direct. And I feel like that's the
yes.
style of my songwriting as well, in general, has always been
Uh-huh.
very direct. I don't like using like these hidden meanings and abstract
Uh-huh.
concepts. And sometimes I do. I just don't think that I've released those songs yet.
Okay.
Um, but specifically lately, like the last EP that I released and this next one that I'll be releasing is very direct
Uh-huh.
in the songwriting and the lyrics. And I wanted to have a music video that really reflected who I am right now, kind of like the messy, the
Mm.
ugly, the everything. So I'm excited. I'm excited about that music video, just because it's a little bit more like, okay, who I am in my day to day. You see a little bit of Montreal, a little bit of Montreal's metros. I'm on the subway, on the bus, and I'm like dancing in the middle of a crowd, or like all these things. So I guess I just wanted to add on to that, but it's hard to pinpoint a favorite part. Yeah, it's like the chorus is obviously going to be very fun, and I'm actually doing a choreography. Like, I got a choreographer to kind of help me with a dance, because when I was thinking about this music video, I was like, oh, I feel like I need to dance. Like, I'm not a dancer inherently, but I love dancing, and I feel like it's this type of song that you really want to move your body to and express yourself, uh,
Mm.
express the song through your body, kind of thing. And I feel like that's also very important movement. Just there's so much trauma that's stored in the body that it's like, the more you dance, the more you move your body, you're able to let go of a lot of things inherently. And I've even
Mm.
realized that through workout classes lately. I've been like, I think I went to like a couple of
Mm.
spinning classes recently where it was like, why do I feel like crying right now? And it's crazy how much it's like,
Yeah.
it's always kind
Stored.
of there. Yeah.
Yeah, the body. Yeah. Wow.
The body keeps the
Wow.
score.
That's what they
But
say. That's what they say.
so yeah, I'm excited
Wow.
to kind of like be dancing in one of my music videos,
Mm.
and dance in the sense that, yeah, I think it's letting go of the fact that I'm not a dancer. It's okay. I can do whatever I want, and if I want to dance, then I should do it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well said.
excited.
Well said. If you can dance, yeah, you should be able to dance. I love that. That's so cool.
Yeah.
I love this conversation. It's been so insightful and just so profound and really a cool deeper look into who you are as a person and as an artist. And I think, both your fans and people who are discovering you here today are going to be super lucky to get this inside look into your process and to who you are today.
Oh.
I'm curious for our viewers who have been watching. Thank you so much for listening. Please like and subscribe these videos, but also for them, where can they follow you? Like, drop your socials, drop any of the shows that you might be doing or anything like that. I'll try and get this out around the week that your song is getting out. So
Hmm.
please plug away.
Yeah. So my Instagram and my TikTok is vitalia.music, Vitalia dot music, as it's spelled. And on YouTube, it's Vitalia_music. So those are the main
Nice.
platforms where you can listen to me on when it comes to kind of like
Hmm.
my content and just being in touch with me. And you can always DM me, send me a little invitation to chat, whatever it may be. And in regards to listening to my music, it's on every streaming platform. So be it Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, anything that's out there, Amazon Music, all the
Love
good
it.
stuff, and obviously always encourage people to listen to the music on platforms that pay artists well. So
Mm.
Tidal is a good one if I remember correctly. That's something to think about. But anyway, we're not gonna open that can of worms. All that to say,
Yeah, we'll have to do a second episode on that one.
yeah. But yeah, it's
But
Vitalia,
before
Vitalia on those streaming platforms.
Vitalia.music or Vitalia_music. Thank you so much, Vitalia.
Mm-hmm.
Before we go, I would love it if you could treat our viewers and listeners to maybe your choice, either a lullaby from the Ukraine or one of your own songs or whatever song that you want to sing. This is your space. This is your show. I'd love to hear a little song before we go, if that's cool.
Oh, for me to sing right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Before that, I just want to mention something really quickly. So
Go ahead.
the Ukraine is something that we called Ukraine when it was part of the Soviet Union, and now we just say Ukraine. So for
Ukraine. Oh.
Ukraine, yeah. So for anyone that's out there
Sorry for
listening,
putting the. Yeah, yeah,
no,
yeah,
no
yeah.
worries.
It's
It's more like
Ukraine.
because it was part of the Soviet Union,
Yeah.
people called it as that part. So the Ukraine, because it was
Oh,
like part of it.
wow.
But now that it's an independent country, it's been just
Nice.
Ukraine without the.
Thank
So
you
just
for the
putting it out there.
lesson. This is great for the world to know that too. Yeah. Okay, cool. I didn't know that.
Mm.
That's so cool.
And as for the song to sing, my voice is now warmed up. Oh my god, you're putting me on the spot. But when I think of a lullaby, I think of my song Land of Black, which I released a while back, but it was like a year after the war in Ukraine started. So
Mm.
it's definitely out there. It's very vulnerable and very raw. And I think it was a big step for me to release that one, Land of Black. And it's a lot more it's a little bit more abstract. It's poetic. I think it goes, Land of Black, the stars are dark and heavy. I don't even remember the lyrics. Yeah, I don't even remember the lyrics. Oh my god, I have to check it out again. But I'm very proud of that song. Like I think it was like I wrote it initially as a poem. I
I
think
love
when
it.
the war started, and a year later, I was like, okay, I finally have the guts to release this. So
Mm.
I released it a year later, and it's kind of like an adaptation of that poem. But yeah, it's a very special song to me. Thank you for having me
Mm.
on and all. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. This is so special. I'm so glad that you said yes, that you wanted to be on it. I always like our deep conversation. So I think it's just nice that there'll be this little time capsule that other people can get to know you better because you're a unique artist that is just on the rise and including so many people within that dream. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for doing this podcast. And viewer, listener, thank you for listening. And as I said before, please like, subscribe, comment. If you have any questions, drop them into the comment section of these YouTube videos. And Vitalia and I will do our best to answer your questions and be part of the conversation. And also, please reach out to her with any of your questions. She's very friendly with her fans, as you can see. And she wants to have these conversations and grow the conversation on many of the topics that she's brave enough to speak about and also even put into her music and her art. So I think that that's just hugely inspiring to me, hugely inspiring to many people. And again, thank you so much for coming on. This has been a pleasure.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you.
And scene. That's how I end the
Yeah.
comment.